Okay, so this is going to be just some fun facts about Dobby the House Elf. So, just quick introduction. This is going to be mostly directed to people who have never seen the movies or have only read the books once or twice. I love Harry Potter, honestly, and recently I watched the movies with somebody who hasn't read the books. And of course, they leave out so much in the movies, so I basically drove me really nuts. And so, anyways, here we go. I'm gonna make a video on some fun facts about Dobby the House Elf. If you care, yeah, great, keep on watching. Just some fun facts and just little moments that I loved from the series that didn't make it to the movies. Okay, so first of all, why is Dobby such a great character? Basically, a lot of very serious plot things have happened because of Dobby. And yeah, plus he's just such a cute little guy. So, villain origin story. No, just if you've never seen them before, just a quick recap, or you've only seen them once, basically, just quick summary. Dobby is a house elf in the Malfoy family. So, when he's there, he's treated very badly. We see this at several points in the story and in the series where Mr. Malfoy constantly belittles the house elf, he kicks them. Dobby speaks about how many times he gets punished at home and how poorly he is treated. So, fact number one, he actually had to punish himself severely for every warning he gave Harry in the Chamber of Secrets. So, for revealing his master's secrets, he had to punish himself very severely, and that's just something that the house elves are compelled to do. So, basically, the quote goes like this. So, no, no, sir, Dobby will have to punish himself most grievously for coming to see you, sir. Dobby will have to shut his ears in the oven door for this, if they ever knew, sir. And Harry goes, well, won't they notice if you shut your ears in an oven door? And he goes, like, I doubt it. And he says, Dobby is always having to punish himself for something, sir. They just lets him get on with it. Sometimes they reminds him to do extra punishments. Pitiful, right? We love Dobby. Okay, so basically, remember, a house elf can not disobey a direct order. Like if you say sit down, the house elf will be compelled to obey. But then there are things like suggested orders, like that are not direct orders. So like things like keeping your master's secrets, or you know what I mean. Just kind of basic things about being loyal to the family that they're not supposed to do, but they can do. They can go against a suggested order, but they just have to punish themselves after. So basically, he shut his poor little ears in the oven door for visiting Harry. And throughout the series, every cryptic warning he gave Harry, he would have to punish himself quite badly for. So, fun fact number two, so Dobby told Harry who gave Ginny the diary. So, if you don't remember this, this wasn't said explicitly in words, but basically in the end of Chamber of Secrets, when he's in the room with Dumbledore and Mr. Malfoy, he points to the diary, then to Mr. Malfoy, then to himself, and twists his ears in punishment. This he repeats over and over until we learn that Harry has finally understood what has transpired and accuses Mr. Malfoy. So this was briefly shown in the movie. I'm going to show it here, but basically it was much more prominent and more obvious in the books. So we know after this, obviously, Harry gives Mr. Malfoy the slimy sock, and then da 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 da. I just love this part. Dobby is free.
Mr. Malfoy. Mr. Malfoy. I have something of yours.
Mine? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I think you do, sir. I think you slipped the diary into Ginny Weasley's cauldron that day at Diagon Alley.
You do you? Why don't you prove it? Come, Dobby.
Open it.
Dobby?
Master has given Dobby a sock.
What? I didn't...
Master has presented Dobby with clothes. Dobby is free.
Okay, so number 3, so Dobby actually starts working at Hogwarts. So the movie's left a lot about these next few points, but basically, if you're confused why Dobby just suddenly shows up again, and I think it's book 7, and just a lot of plot things that were very confusing in the movie, it's because Dobby had a lot of very critical parts in the role, and they sort of changed those to be other characters. So, in book 4 onwards, Dobby actually finds work with other house elves at Hogwarts. Remember, he'd been freed, and so he needed to find a new family to serve. So basically, he went around and asked to be paid a wage and was laughed out of most wizarding families. So then Dumbledore was like, okay, for sure, what do you want? And he basically he asked for a salary and ended up working for Dumbledore at Hogwarts with all the other house elves. There's lots of work at Hogwarts for preparing feasts for the Great Hall and cleaning the dormitories and all that stuff. And yeah, so with his wages, he buys himself a little tea cozy. It's really cute. Or at least in my mind reading it. But yeah, overall, next time we see him in the books, he's a lot more happy. So yeah, if you thought you were wondering about the hats in the last picture of Dobby, so Hermione actually wants to save all the house elves, and she finds out about the awful working conditions that they're often in and decides to start a little society at Hogwarts. Basically, she starts knitting hundreds and hundreds of hats and socks and little tea cozies. And basically, Dobby wears literally all of them. So I deeply enjoy these couple pictures. So honorable mention, he actually gave Harry Christmas gifts with the earnings from his wages because he was so happy he was a free elf. Isn't that cute? Oh my god. So Dobby hand knit some socks for Harry for Christmas with earnings from the wages. Harry gets a little bit flustered and embarrassed that he didn't get anything for Dobby, and he gives him back a pair of really nasty rumpled socks from his school trunk. And Dobby takes them and is just so excited, and he goes basically, I put up the full quote there, but basically he says, but sir, like, they've made a mistake. They've given you 2 of the same. And Ron busts out laughing and goes, here you go, Dobby, you can have one of mine. Then you can mix and match them up properly. I posted the whole quote up here, but I love this part. It's just so delightful. Okay, so number 6. So in the books, Dobby gives Harry gillyweed for the second task in the Triwizard Tournament. In the movie, it is actually Neville. So in the movie, they make a big show about Neville being the one who thought of gillyweed for the second task for breathing underwater. And this made the story a little bit neater they had to condense everything. But basically, in the books, Professor Moody sees Harry's socks at the Yule Ball, and he says, ha ha ha, this is some pretty nice socks, Potter. And he finds out that he actually has a friendship with the house elf. So Professor Moody, of course, was the undercover Death Eater who was trying to basically get Harry through the Triwizard Tournament to basically be the villain of the story. But anyway, so basically he had to get Harry through the task. So what he did was he actually staged a conversation with Professor McGonagall really loudly in the staff room, and right before that had asked Dobby to come and basically clean the closet. So he basically staged a conversation when Dobby was there and talked really loudly about how Potter was so screwed for the task, and if only someone could think to give him gillyweed, they would save the day, basically. And of course, Dobby loves Harry Potter, and he thought he was saving the day, so he basically got the gillyweed and stole it from Professor Snape in his private stores to be able to get Harry through that task. So gillyweed helps you breathe underwater and is really the only reason Harry made it through that task. So in the movies, it was Neville. In the books, it was Dobby all the way. Okay, so number 7. So Dobby's the one that told Harry about the room of requirement for DA meetings. So remember, the DA meetings, the anti-Umbridge meetings, where they learn defense against the dark arts. Dobby was actually the one who told Harry about that room. And yeah, so without Dobby, there would have been no DA meetings, and yeah, would have been a much less interesting 5th book. Okay, so on that same note, so part B to that comment, so because Dobby told Harry about the room of requirement, he was able to find one of the Horcruxes. So remember the lost diadem, or this, yeah. In my head I always say a dadium, but I know that it's supposed to be a diadem. Anyways, regardless. So the lost tiara of Ravenclaw, which, as we know, was the final Horcrux, which Harry knew about the room of requirement and where a lot of students had hidden things over the years. So if Dobby had actually never told Harry about the room of requirement in book 5, we would have never been able to find the last Horcrux in book 7. So no Dobby, no defeat of Horcrux number 5, I think it was, and no defeat of Lord Voldemort. So the magic that holds Dobby into the Malfoy's manor is really interesting. So basically, there's an anti-disapparition jinx in the room, where in like the dungeon where all the guys are being kept. So Harry, Ron, and I think it was Ollivander and Griphook, like they were all in a room that you couldn't disappear in and out of. Now, house elf magic is bound very differently than wizard magic, so basically, it's kind of funny. I'll play the clip here.
Of course, I'm an elf.
Whenever you're ready, sir.
Sir, I like her very much. Meet me at the top of the stairs in 10 seconds.
Yeah, so house elf magic is very strong and very, impressive, and wizards just sort of overlook it, which is kind of key to some of the areas where Harry was able to outsmart Malfoy and Voldemort in the end and all of that. But basically, to make a long story short, I thought it was really cool that there's an anti-disapparition jinx in the room, and no one really thought to make it also apply to house elves, because they were not really considered free-thinking individuals. But yeah, so basically Dobby operates them out of the room, and number 10 is obviously Dobby's sacrifice to keep them safe. Major plot point.
Oh, stupid elf! You could have killed me! Dobby never meant to kill. Dobby only meant to maim or seriously injure. How dare you take a witch's wand! How dare you defy your masters! Dobby has no master. Dobby is a free elf. And Dobby has come to save Harry Potter and his friends.
Dobby. Dobby, hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay? We'll fix you.
Such a beautiful place to be with friends. Dobby is happy to be with his friend, Harry Potter.
There. Now he could be sleeping.
Oh my goodness, this is just such a great part of the series. When Narcissa Malfoy sees that it's her own house elf that she mistreated, come to steal her prisoners and ruin her, she shouts like, Dobby? It is so cute. I love this part. It says the tiny elf trotted into the room, shaking his finger and pointing at his old mistress. You must not hurt Harry Potter, he squeaked. And he takes he disarms Narcissa, and yeah, and he goes, Dobby has no master, squeaked the elf. Dobby is a free elf, and Dobby has come to save Harry Potter and his friends. Come on, that gets me every single time. Okay, so there you have it, folks. So no Dobby, there'd be no escape from the Malfoys, there'd be no discovery of the room requirement, there'd be no destruction of the fifth Horcrux, and by extension Voldemort, and Harry would have died probably about twice by my reckoning, with the plot following itself without Dobby intervening. So, also, what a cute little guy. He's so sweet. What an elf, amazing. And to finish this off, this is a picture of a dog I found on the internet, but I absolutely dressed my Chihuahua up as Dobby for Halloween this year. So there you go.